After Meghan Markle's truly bonkers moon bump reliving on that red carpet last week, this couple, so the fake Duchess along with Prince Harry, are now claiming a conspiracy. As it turns out, their British taxpayer-funded security is not confirmed. And the thing is, these two have been trying for months to bounce the British royal family, to bounce the British government into ensuring that people like me pay for them to travel the world on their dodgy money-making missions. And we're going to refuse. There's going to be a massive backlash. That is coming. And so quite rightly, there is now pushback within the Home Office. Harry is telling his friends, this is the men in grey suits coming to get me. No, it's not, mate. There is a hard left socialist government here, but what you are attempting to do, making us pay for your security, your business interests, is not going to fly. And that comes, by the way, even as Boris Johnson, the former Prime Minister of the UK, leads what is known as Project Thor. That's a British establishment attempt to bring the couple back to the United Kingdom. So we're going to get into all of this with Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, in just one moment. But first, I want to take you through the sensational reporting from the Daily Telegraph, which is broken over the weekend. They report Home Office officials are trying to block the Duke and Duchess of Sussex from being given taxpayer-funded security over fears of a public backlash. No sugar, Sherlock. We'll be booing. We'll be protesting. The Royal and VIP Executive Committee, RAVIC, which authorises security for senior members of the royal family on behalf of the Home Office, is assessing whether or not to reinstate security provision for Prince Harry and his wife Meghan. Civil servants from the Home Office, the Cabinet Office and the Foreign Office who sit on the committee are understood to oppose granting the couple taxpayer-funded security whenever they are in the UK because it would carry too much political risk. A full risk assessment is underway, but a decision has not yet been made. However, a Home Office source told the Telegraph there was a split in the ranks. The source said there is a nervousness among certain members of the committee who fear a public backlash. Trust me, there will be one. The political side believe there is too much political risk, while the police and security chiefs believes that he absolutely must have it due to the extant threat. A spokesman for the Duke declined to comment, but there were believed to be concerns in his camp that the decision would again be influenced by politics rather than security and the realities of the situation. But as Brittany posted on this, there is no appetite in the UK to expend money on a brat of a prince who offers no benefit to the country, and it would backfire massively on the monarchy as well. Harry should have thought of security when he left. And the thing is, Brittany, he's crying conspiracy now, but there is no conspiracy. He was told, you go, this is gone for life. End of story, Buster.
I mean, Dan, this was so incredibly obvious. It's, again, like shocking that Harry didn't even consider this when he left. He was told, hey, you won't have security if you leave. And there is a very just general, specific, obvious reason for that, which is that royals get security in part because they are working for the government, and to a certain extent, they represent the government. And if the government does certain things, that could backlash on the monarchy. And Charles serves as head of state. And so all members of the royal family are an extension of that head of state, or at least all the working members. Harry is no longer a working member of the royal family. Everything he does is for his own personal financial gain. And so it's just crazy to even consider that the government would fund any sort of security apparatus for him unless there is a specific threat. And anytime a assessment has been done, like a brief one before Harry arrives, no threat is ever found. And so I think the idea that there's somewhere in the police force that thinks there's this massive threat against Prince Harry, I think that's blown out of proportion by his camp. And not to mention the fact he's gone to Nigeria, Colombia, Mexico, Jordan, all locations that could be considered much more dangerous than the UK. This is just a man who lives in delusion, and he wants the British people to pay for that delusion.
Yeah, and we're not going to. But Brittany, what is absolutely clear, while Harry cries conspiracy, actually, I would argue there's a conspiracy amongst the British deep state, amongst the British establishment, to try and change British people's mind and say it's a good idea to have these two back. And you've seen it happen with the Daily Mail over the past few months. The Daily Mail, which is on this deranged campaign against William and Catherine, which we'll come to shortly. But now their star columnist, this is the former Prime Minister, I'm sure even those of you overseas recognize this guy, Boris Johnson, who was Prime Minister when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle left the British royal family, writing a sort of, I think it's actually an insane new column. Look at this. For the Daily Mail, saying that all is forgiven and he wants them to return. So I'm just going to, before I share Boris Johnson's word, Boris, I'm just going to tell you, you will never return to politics now in the United Kingdom because trust me, this is the least popular thing you've ever said. And you've said a lot of unpopular things.
Tonight on The Crown Report, Prince Harry is once again making headlines as he raises concerns about royal security arrangements, with claims that continue to spark debate among commentators and royal watchers. At the same time, fresh discussion has emerged around Meghan Markle's social circle, with some reports questioning how her new friendships are being portrayed in the media. Supporters argue that much of the coverage is speculative, while critics believe it reflects broader tensions surrounding the Sussexes' public image. Dan is joined by the Royal News Network to break down the latest claims, the reactions from both sides, and what this could mean for Harry and Meghan moving forward. Are these concerns part of a wider issue around security and trust, or simply another chapter in the ongoing media narrative surrounding the couple? As always, separating fact from speculation is key in a story that continues to evolve. If you enjoy royal news, analysis and balanced discussion, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates from The Crown Report.
So he wrote, I noticed how much zing they seem to add. This is talking about when he was Prime Minister and he saw Prince Harry and Meghan Markle working events, how people's eyes lit up when they came into the room. I had vaguely concluded that Harry and Meghan were a national asset, and I decided to see if I could talk him out of leaving. So sometime in the middle of the morning, so this is after I broke the Megxit story, I remember this clearly, I think it was January 2020, our officials cleared a meeting room. We were standing eyeball to eyeball. As I say, I felt I could speak to him in an avuncular sort of way, as if offering career advice. I think one of my brothers was briefly in the same class at school. Eton. So basically what he said, we're Eton boys, I'm going to speak to a fellow Eton boy. So I cleared my throat and had a bash. I honestly think it's a pity, I said. I think there is so much good you can do here, so many good causes, why not stick around? That was the gist. And because he is basically a polite and forbearing fellow, he heard me out without the slightest sign of impatience. But it was clear I was getting nowhere. I may have delivered Brexit, but I could not avert Megxit. I'm reminded of all this because I saw a brilliant piece in yesterday's paper by Jan Moir in which she mentioned that after 6 years in Montecito, California, things are not going quite as swimmingly as they were. They were never going swimmingly, Boris. Catch up. She said that Netflix had stopped making so many documentaries about Meghan, for instance, and the general impression was there was at least some in the America who felt on the whole that the Harry and Meghan show had delighted the nation long enough. Well, I have no idea about the intricacies of their many charitable ventures. There are no charitable ventures, Boris. This is the thing. You're not educated on this. But since I have a huge regard for Jan Moir, I am inclined to believe there must be something in what she says. In which case, my message is simple. Come back. The pair of you, come back to Britain with your heads held high. I don't care what anyone else says. It looks to me as if your American sojourn has been a triumphant success. Okay, so this is just a lie now. Meghan has managed to sell not far short of 1 million pots of jam. Again, you don't know that. You literally do not know that. We do not know that. I do not believe that. It's why Harry was right back then to ignore me and why they were right to go to America. That's why there are so many former UK PMs stacked in a holding pattern over New York or Chicago, waiting for clearance to give keynote speeches to vast conferences of cardiologists and gastroenteritis. That's why so many talented Brits go to America, from Charles Dickens and PJ Wodehouse to Gordon Ramsay and Harry Styles. There is no disgrace in going to America, giving it your best shot, and then jacking it in. Robbie Williams did it. So did Piers Morgan. One Direction eventually went in both directions. If Harry and Meghan come back, they would, of course, have to smooth things over the rest of the family. Are you kidding me? That is the understatement of the century. And he says, but that is surely not impossible. Boris, many of your own children do not speak to you. And this is a much worse predicament because they haven't gone on the record slagging you off. He adds their return would be an important signal in grim times of confidence in this country. Since my abortive pep talk in 2020, we have acquired a diabolical Labour government. So I say, help us stem the Starmer hemorrhage. Swim against the tide. Show a lead, Harry and Meghan. Come back to poor old Blighty. Share us up with your jam-tastic household tips and your richly comic family feuds. Above all, get stuck into those conspicuously thinned out royal ranks and champion some things that really matter, like educational equality and injured veterans. You once did a great job when you were allowed to. You can do it again. Come back, Harry and Meghan. All is forgiven. Hell no. Hell no. Hell to the no. And I've never actually read a column more out of touch than that, Brittany, from someone who used to be a man who the British public respected. That respect, by the way, is long gone. We're not going to go into the politics of it, but trust me, that respect is long gone. This man is completely out of touch. This campaign is going to fail, but shame on Boris, shame on the Daily Mail. Genuinely, Brittany, I had to check to begin with that wasn't AI. I thought someone is pulling a practical joke. I cannot believe he said all of that. And there were so many lies.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, it was so laughably bad. I mean, I had a hard time not laughing at it because it's so absurd, so out of touch, so disconnected from reality. And the thing is, Harry and Meghan are completely different than celebrities. They were royalty. And in particular, they represented, again, Charles as head of state and then the Queen as head of state, actually, technically the Queen. And so they were part of this government apparatus. They're not just celebrities that tried their bit in Hollywood, they were royalty. And because of that, they are treated differently and they should be treated differently. And they left a life of service where they are going to serve the people just for soulish cash grabs in the United States, tarnishing the reputation of Harry's family in the process, Meghan's family as well. They just burned every bridge. They were just awful and toxic. There's even a reason why the Hollywood people aren't that invested in them. It's because, to be honest, they have no talent. So these other people that went to the United States to try their luck, they had talent. Harry and Meghan have none. And them slinking back to the UK is a reflection of their failure, not their successes, because Meghan Markle only ever cares about the money. That is all she cares about. That's all she's interested in. And the royal family was not going to pay her enough. The British people, I mean, we've heard from Matt Wilkinson kind of made a comment that Meghan wasn't very good at the job. She was not good at being royal. She wasn't good at serving others because she's only interested in serving herself. But another interesting facet of that piece as well is you just got to wonder if people consider Boris in this particular instance, consider the monarchy as it's made up right now of rather weak. And so they want to bring Harry and Meghan in because they think they can fix that, will fix that. And I mean, of course, that's not going to fix the problem. But I think it does reflect that people see a weakness and a vulnerability in the monarchy right now.
Yeah, that is true. It's just not one that's going to be solved by those two. But look, there is a wider plot here. As according to Taz wrote, as this proves, Richard Eden was telling the truth about certain people in government trying to hatch a plan to get these two back. I'll be as polite as possible, Boris, but do fuck off. He betrayed our late beloved Queen and Prince Philip. He betrayed our current King and Queen Camilla, and he's betrayed our future King and Queen Catherine and William. We do not want the Viper back because he will do it all again for money, as will his wife. And I think that really sums up the anger